was a house dwarfed by the huge intractable landscape, remote, poor and unobtrusive, not a part of respected society, indeed breaking the laws of respected society by its very existence, surviving at all only through dogged determination and courage. The Bishop of Aberdeen quoted this during a homily at Scallon College Pilgrimage. It refers to the history of Scallon and the Highland Catholics of, for the majority, the 18th century, by John Watts. The Bishop continues, "When I am weak, then I am strong." We want to store that phrase in our memory, write it on our hearts. It was true then, it's true now, and it's true for us. The aim of this project is to rediscover Highland Catholic history, the hidden aspects, the stories, how it survived, has changed through the ages, and how it lives on in the Highlands, in the churches, and in the family. We thought it pertinent then to begin the project by talking to the Bishop of Aberdeen, Hugh Gilbert, who was the 11th Bishop of Aberdeen since the restoration of the Catholic hierarchy in 1878. The Bishop is from Hampshire, but became a Benedictine monk at Plusgarden Abbey in Murray in 1974 and was abbot for 19 years until he was ordained as bishop in 2011.
Let me just quickly do pay by phone and then, hang on, before I do that.
We're going to visit the Bishop of Aberdeen, Bishop Hugh.
Yes.
I was 20 when
Oh, that's
we've been married for quite a long time, haven't we? Okay, so to give a brief background, you are a Benedictine monk, currently Bishop of Aberdeen, and you previously served as abbot of Plusgarden Abbey. So do you think your time as a Benedictine monk has influenced your role as a bishop considerably?
I'd hope so.
Yeah, obviously.
Not too considerably in the sense of wanting to turn everybody into a monk or a nun. But obviously, well, I was in the monastery for 37 years. That has an impact on you, and you live in a certain way. You experience community, you experience the liturgy in a particularly intense way, a number of times each day, and you sometimes have the leisure to read and study and go for a walk. Yes, and of course it's a beautiful place. So I think Saint Benedict created something beautiful for the church all those centuries ago. It can express itself in many ways. As we know, the Benedictine life takes on a great variety of forms throughout the world, but at Plusgarden it's a contemplative version.
So we were speaking about this before, about how the fact that Pope Francis was a Jesuit, and like people sort of don't necessarily understand, if they're from the secular world, how that affects your role, and how like he chose to sort of live differently slightly, didn't he, in the flat, like the different apartment, things like that.
Yeah, we were saying, weren't we, that he seemed to continue his monastic background into his papacy.
Yes, it's. I had an opportunity to ask him that question, but failed to take it, slightly to my regret. How did he adjust from being a Jesuit to being a bishop originally? Of course, being a bishop comes first. You are. That's what you have to prioritize, and you can't simply carry on living in the way that you would in a monastic community. And obviously you're far more involved with people that kind of thing. So, and it affects your prayer. I mean, that would be true. Whatever you do affects your prayer. And so, but yes, I don't know what I would like to have carried over is certainly the centrality of Christ. Saint Benedict, I mean, like so most saints really, but Saint Benedict is always said to have been very Christ-centered, and that's always been my very simple aspiration for the diocese, that Christ be real to people. In my own experience, he became a lot realer to me in the monastery.
Yeah.
Now I've still got a long way to go,
Yeah.
but he became much realer to me through the monastic life, and that seemed to me the great gift of the monastery. Really, was to have a more vivid sense of Christ as someone, present in one's life, present in the church, present in the world, and so on. And it's that focus on Christ I would very much like to, bring to the diocese.
Like that, like going to the monastery, you feel the presence from the monks. I know I don't want to put them on a pedestal, but there's just something that comes from them that you feel closer to Christ through them. Okay, when you became a monk, did you choose a new name?
In those days, one was given a new name.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And the funny story is there were two of us who were becoming novices at the same time, and I had set my little heart on the name of Anselm. And we were kneeling in front of the abbot, and the abbot said to me, "You will be called Hugh." And I thought, who's he? And then the fellow next to me, "You will be called Anselm."
Then you got you mixed up.
But I've become very happy with Saint Hugh, and he was a 12th century monk, originally from Burgundy, but who came to England. He became a Carthusian in France. That was very much a new order at that time. He introduced really, or established, the Carthusian life in England for the time of the Middle Ages, and then he was made a bishop of Lincoln, which was a very large diocese geographically, and so there it is. I'm a monk, and I've been made a bishop, and he's a fascinating character about whom we are, as medieval historiography goes, very well informed. So I've developed a great affection and sense of closeness to Saint Hugh, so I'm quite happy with that.
It's interesting that you take a new name, isn't it? You become a new creation. It felt really important taking a confirmation saint's name.
Yes, that's I think more perhaps as a patron for confirmation, but it's got different aspects. The name, as you say, the names have a very rich pedigree in scripture and significance. And
we read that you converted when you were 18.
Correct.
And did your family convert with you, or was it just you?
It was just me at that time, but later, at the ripe age of 70, my mother converted. She had never been baptized, and I was by then a priest, so I had the privilege of baptizing my own mother.
Oh, that's lovely. Wow, what an interesting
to
story.
pay her back for all the labour of birth and dragging me up.
That's really lovely. What a lovely, And your father?
Well, I discovered later that my father's mother had been a Catholic, but she had not brought up the children as Catholics.
Okay. That's interesting.
And she hadn't herself continued as a Catholic.
Okay. So, as Plusgarden is a very special place for us, and you referred to it as the last pilgrimage as the spiritual heart of the diocese. Do you think this is this personally for you and the community, or?
Well, that phrase, the spiritual heart of the diocese, goes back to Bishop Mario Conti, actually.
Okay.
I think he coined that.
That's interesting.
He was bishop from, 1977 to 2001 or so on. And then his successor, Bishop Peter, used it once or twice.
Okay.
So I felt I'd better use it too. But,
it's yours now.
Yes, that's right.
Your quote.
Yes, my quote now, yes. But I would like to think that's true.
Yeah.
For many people, but not only in the diocese, but for many people, it's a very precious place.
It is, yeah. And it seems to be a sort of a heartland of the faith up here. Sort of surrounds it, doesn't it, with the convent and as well. And I was going to ask you about the Crichton Stewarts.
Yes.
Because they gifted both of them, did they? To the
yes, they did. Yes. Yes. Well, the Marquis of Bute was a convert, 19th century convert from an eminent Scottish family. He was also very wealthy. He was supposed to have been the wealthiest man in Europe.
Yeah, I read that.
Yes, partly through coal mines in South Wales. And he when he became a Catholic, he liked to purchase old ecclesiastical buildings in the hope of returning them to Catholic use. And that happened in time at Plusgarden, and it happened with Greyfriars in Elgin as well.
Interesting story, because
very.
Yeah. Do you think he was a bit of a romantic? Because I remember it was described as quite romantic that the Plusgarden pioneers sort of came and lived in tents, was it?
Well, yes. I can reveal the dreaded fact that there were no toilets when they arrived. So
it's a lot of woodland.
Exactly.
Because we've found it twice. We've brought people up here, and they find it quite powerful that on the approach to Plusgarden you can't see it, can you?
No.
And then you turn the corner and people are thinking, oh, it's going to be a tiny little abbey, and then you turn that corner and it's like,
wow,
almost like a cathedral just appears out of the woods. And twice we've had people said they were like emotionally moved by, there's just this spiritual and physical hidden gem just in the valley, like up in this corner of Scotland. Just
in
really,
comparison
really
to Burnley Kirk, which was the seat of the bishop for some time. It's the most modest little building, isn't it?
Tiny little
yes, I see. Yes.
Yeah. So our goal with this project is to share the story of the Catholic Church and also to drive vocations. Do you have a particular view on how this is done historically? And I noticed the university community is quite big. The students, there's lots of Catholic students coming to Plusgarden.
Yes, I think certainly. Well, in my own time, thinking of my contemporaries in the community, several of them were from usually Scottish, but not always, old-fashioned, strong Catholic families where all the children practiced and both parents practiced, and that was just taken for granted. And that was one strand, and the other strand were the converts who were looking for some way of living out the gift of faith that they had received. And now it's rather moved on, I think, because there isn't, as strong as there was, there isn't that solid old Catholic base. And it was from the south of Scotland or from the west of Scotland. It wasn't really from the area around us. And so now people have a greater variety of backgrounds. Sometimes they do come from steady Catholic, practicing Catholic families, but others through, well, all sorts of experiences, not all of them positive. And then, yes, often converts and so on. I think it's actually, if whether you're born Catholic or not, but if there's a moment in your youth when the faith becomes alive in you in a new way, you have a conversion, then the thought of monastic life is actually natural. It's a natural way of living out the Christian call, discipleship, holiness, whatever you wish to call it. And that, I think it's worth saying that, because it seems very wacky and strange and freakish and all of that, but from somehow within Christianity and within the church, the religious life is a natural flowering, which doesn't mean everyone is called to it, but it is natural. It concerns me a little that the religious life at present, or the consecrated life, is not in one of its most flourishing phases. Now that's a wild generalization, because it depends where you are. And it's very different in parts of Asia and parts of Africa, and even still in parts of Latin America and yes, in North America as well. So thank God the church is so large. You can't generalize, and it can be not doing so well in one place and doing marvelously well in another. But
there's been lots of conversions at the moment in the UK.
Yes. This is
something
very
new's happening, maybe.
I think so. There's definitely a change in the air. And the thing among young people. But there's there often isn't that a sort of solid base. People are coming through with very rich experiences often. But we do live in an unstable world.
I think one of the things I liked when I converted was that within the church you have these vocations and you basically choose one.
Yes.
And in secular life it's very messy, and there aren't sacraments, and there aren't necessarily paths that are spiritual paths. No matter what you choose, it's a spiritual choice. And I think one of the things when you come into the church and you think about, well, am I choosing the sacrament of marriage, or am I choosing the sacrament of the priesthood? So I wonder if that the vocations will flourish with these converts who realise that they need to make this decision.
Yes, let's hope so.
So what do you think about, what's the best tool for evangelism amongst the laity? Like, what would the clerics like to see from the laity, do you think? Is there any advice that you would have?
That's rather a big question. And maybe hesitate to speak on behalf of all the clergy, who often have their own ideas.
What are the differing ideas, would you say?
There are several programs of parish renewal going around. I mean, one of the best known is Divine Renovation, but there are others like Called and Gifted and so on. And there are these different programs either for groups within a parish or for the parish as a whole to kind of revitalise parishes and intensify the commitment of people. And I think each pastor, each parish priest needs to discern what he thinks would work in his own setting, because really the parishes are very diverse. We've got tiny rural parishes which sometimes are not flourishing, one would have to say that. I mean, the general rule is that the church does better in cities than it does in the country. And what we've often lacked here is, especially in recent years, is what you might call a critical mass of getting enough Catholics to get together to start a bonfire, if you like. It's often individuals, families who are being very faithful in their way, and maybe just plain busy in their lives, and trying to keep afloat. But once you get into a city, or once you get, I do think cathedrals have a big role to play, because cathedrals attract people, come to them, just as monasteries do in another way.
Because of the beauty of the...
yes, you can just do so much more, liturgically, pastorally, socially, in every way. There can be things going on all the time, which you just can't, if you're in Orchtamachti, so to speak, you just can't do that.
There's been quite a resurgence of pilgrimage from secular people.
Yes.
So that seems to be quite a good...
yes, I think holiness is the essential thing. But yes, I think pilgrimage, you find in the Church of Scotland, you can go we have a Church of Scotland cathedral over the road. Well, you can go and light a candle there, which would be unthinkable in the past. They will talk about Advent and Lent and Easter, which again are new things. So I think the sacramentals have people really warm to them, and they can be there aren't the sort of such intense theological issues that there can be about the sacraments in the strict sense, if you see what I mean. And so all that side of the church, I think the church needs to be clear in her teaching. The church needs, above all, I think, or first of all, if the community is a welcoming place. They say, and I think it's very true, we're living in an atomized society, people are lonely, there's individualism and and they're craving for community and acceptance and warmth, and so the whole thing of belonging, that there have been studies on the resurgence that there is in France, for example.
And it's about their sort of
and that's often the first attraction, but also it can be the beauty of buildings, the history, the beauty of the liturgy. I noticed among a group of people this year in Aberdeen who've come to baptism or come from another Christian community into full communion with the Catholic Church, that the role of the Eucharist, even before they're receiving the Eucharist, has been very strong. Even just seen online.
Yeah.
Or they say, gosh, we've never seen anything like this.
The
This is
Eucharistic
fantastic.
revival in America when they did the huge pilgrimage
Yeah,
with
the
the
massive
Eucharist.
Yes.
I thought that was amazing.
Yes.
It's,
So all those things. I don't think there's one magic formula.
no.
The church is always bigger than us.
Yeah.
Got
its own ideas.
Yes, and different things draw different people.
I mean, for me, it was a real interest in history and the churches themselves, like the buildings themselves. You know.
Yes.
The interesting, quirky, like things about different buildings.
And the saints.
And so I spent a long time in the church, and it sort of just had its effect on me.
We were discussing it the other day, though, weren't we? That if there was a magic formula for evangelism, the Lord would have put it in the gospel.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
There's a quick fix.
No, exactly. It's not a quick fix, and then everybody is different, and everybody is drawn by different things. But I think it's true that whole side of buildings and ritual and blessings and people are fascinated by all of that,
they really are,
and they do like, again, because we're an uprooted people, where there is a sense of root and continuity. People are very comforted by that.
People are really interested in, like, the sisters, for example. Like, I noticed that people stop and talk to them all the time.
Yes.
And I think like their habits even just really intrigue people. And there's also people, I think, in secular life that could probably do with monastic life. They don't know it yet.
We need that we feel that the Holy Spirit's calling them to.
Have you ever thought about what's monastic? You might not be baptised yet, but
yes, quite.
You never know.
No, you never know. No. It does sometimes. And the artistic heritage of the church, and the music and painting and all of that can really draw people.
Doesn't it? One of the things I saw when I was researching when I just moved up here, because what I do is I research everything manically. So I saw that you did some masses at Kinloss Abbey ruins. Is that right?
I think it was.
Awesome.
I think it might have been the Divine Office, actually.
Okay.
Though maybe there was a mass once. Yeah.
I thought I saw pictures of you.
Yeah, could be.
Or maybe another priest at
Could
the
be.
altar.
Yes, it could be. It could be. It could be. But we also did. I do remember we did an office there.
Yeah.
We did some liturgy there.
And there's been a mass at Elgin Cathedral.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that sort of thing is. Yeah, I heard about that and I was so sad that I missed it.
Yes. Yes.
Gonna have to ring up the monks and be like, listen, tell me when these things
Yes.
I need to know.
Yes.
Yeah, we discussed it, didn't we? That from an aesthetic perspective of the way the modern world is, the sight of religious nuns, monks in a ruin doing the mass.
It really sort of evokes that ancient tradition, ancient ritual, and
and wasn't there recently a pilgrimage, or going round Elgin, old places around Elgin, like Spiney, like Burney, Kirk,
Chatfield told me about
and something in the cathedral, and there were masses done in these places.
Okay.
And
I think that's quite lovely,
yes,
it's quite unique.
And they were popular.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not only for the fact that 200 years ago it would have been illegal to even do that.
Well, that's a remarkable thought. I mean, the Scottish bishops were down in Westminster recently, and we celebrated Mass in, as it were, the crypt of the Houses of Parliament, which is St Mary's Undercroft.
Wow.
And it's a beautiful chapel.
Yeah.
It was restored. There was some big fire, was it, in the 1830s or something? It all burned down, and then they reconstructed this chapel. But there was a chapel there in earlier days, and I thought, gosh, here we are, the Catholic bishops of Scotland, celebrating. Probably not far from where the Guy Fawkes was lighting
Who could have foreseen that?
lighting the gunpowder.
Things can really change.
Things can really change, yes. Yes.
Yeah, we wanted to get onto these Scarland College, and because there's going to be a mass there soon next month.
There is annually.
Annually, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to go to that as well.
Yes.
And we read a lot about the Heather priests.
Yes.
And how there were only like a handful of priests at one time in the Highlands. We were reading about Huntley and the Gordons.
Yes.
And,
it's an enormous subject, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an enormous subject, but
yes.
it's something that we want to cover quite a lot. So
The house next door, which is now the house of the principal of the University of Aberdeen, was the town house of the Gordon family.
Oh, okay.
And an historian of Aberdeen once told me that he reckoned that between the Reformation and the Catholic emancipation in 1829, there would only have been about 20 years when Mass would not have been available somewhere in Old Aberdeen, somewhere around the university. There's a lot of great interest in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
There is a lot of many interesting things, as you say, all around Elgin and the Braes and what they call the Cabrach and all of that area. But Aberdeen was sort of quite a tolerant place, generally speaking, and there were Episcopalians and there were there were Presbyterians, but there were Catholics as well in Old Aberdeen. And so if you go, it's worth a visit if you go to Provost Skeen's house, which is just opposite Marshall College. And that was a house of the early 17th century where the provost, i.e. mayor of Aberdeen, lived. And if you go up, right up into the house and up into the attic, you will see, this is from the early 17th century, so after the Reformation, the ceiling, the wooden ceiling is painted with the mysteries of the Rosary.
Oh, wow.
We definitely need to see that.
That's amazing.
We noticed as well, didn't we, when we went, was it Huntley Castle we visited?
Yeah.
And we read the history of it and the reluctance of even the sheriff to actually punish the Gordons when they were caught in the middle of Mass. Just because of how powerful they were.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
And there was a time, I mean, there were all these Catholic families around Aberdeenshire, and there was a time again when the this would probably be late 17th century, the chief military figures in the in France, and the Bourbons, with the Habsburgs in Spain and Austria and the Low Countries, in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and in the beginnings of the Russian Empire, were all Catholics from Aberdeenshire who lived about 10 miles apart. And one had gone off and become a field marshal, another in one of these places, another had gone off and become the admiral of the fleet, and because they couldn't get jobs. And so this is another whole, a fascinating part of the history of this part of the world, especially this end, that these families sent their children abroad and they made their careers, because you couldn't be a doctor, you couldn't be a teacher, you couldn't be a soldier, you couldn't be a lawyer, all of these things as a Catholic. So if you wanted a career, you went abroad, and the first man to build a Catholic church in Moscow was from up the road here.
Really?
And so it's remarkable. And then there was a member of the Arbuthnot family who left Aberdeen. She was sent off when he was a boy to school on the continent, ended up in Regensburg, became a Benedictine monk at one of these, what were called the Schotten Cloister, the sort of Scottish monasteries, and happened to be one of the leading mathematicians of Europe.
Oh, wow.
And he also became the abbot of this monastery. Now, in 1802, 1803, there was this, it was rather like Henry VIII in England. There was this great secularization, all connected with Napoleon and in the wake of the French Revolution and so on, where monastery after monastery after monastery was closed down. And but the one in Regensburg, this guy had such fame as a mathematician that they didn't dare close it down. And as long as he lived, this monastery continued. So it went on into the 1820s, where he was. And he was just a lad from up the road here. And there are preserved, I think it's in Mintlaw, in the library, or anyway, the archives or whatever, in Mintlaw, the letters he wrote home as a boy when he was sent off to school in Germany, and he wrote home, and there's this correspondence. And it was a German gentleman from Regensburg who told me all this. And then I asked someone to investigate it, and they wrote an article about it in Pluskett and Benedictines. Benedict Arbuthnot.
That's amazing.
And so there were these amazing Scottish Catholics from up here who just went out into, and what Peter the Great of Russia's sort of right-hand man was again a Scottish Catholic from up here.
Just quietly off.
Yes, and when he visited back, he despite being a Catholic, but he was so famous that they gave him the freedom of the city of Aberdeen and so on.
Wow. Do you think there's any particular people from history that deserve more recognition for preserving the faith in Scotland?
I'm sure there are.
Yeah, do you think
Well, a lot of them will be, mothers and grandmothers.
Yeah. Absolutely. Somebody, because when I started to read one of the Highland Catholics book, a very old one that I can only get a PDF of.
Yes.
They said that the Gordons were responsible for keeping it alive.
Yes, they did. Up until the 18th century, really. Then one of them married a Protestant, and
that's what I read.
Yes,
and
yes.
Didn't continue.
Yes, but I think they still remain tolerant.
Okay.
Of their Catholic subjects. Yes. Yes.
What's the one that we're going to go and video out again with?
Deskford.
Where is it? Deskford Church.
There's a sacrament house.
Yeah, they
yes.
demolished everything. But
yes. There were three. Because Pluskett, it was this late medieval custom of having what we would call a tabernacle in the wall on the north side. I mean, that's what there is in the convent at Greyfriars.
Yeah.
Where the tabernacle is.
Okay.
And Pluskett as well.
Okay.
Pluskett, it's where they keep the oils, the holy oils, but in the Middle Ages it was where the Blessed Sacrament would have been reserved, and it's on the north wall. And two other places that are always mentioned in that context are Deskford, the church, and there's one in Cullen, I think.
Okay.
And it was something that had come over from Flanders.
Okay.
But there's a lot of Flemish workers and wood carvers and stone carvers and so on would come over for work here. And then the other great thing just over the road is, have you been there, the ceiling of St. Macca's?
We're going to go in afterwards.
Yeah, it's one of the best sort of because so much was destroyed, as we know, but it's one of the best preserved sort of pre-Reformation pieces of architecture, and it's just been all refurbished. So there are these shields, there are these 3 lines of shields of the Pope and the bishops of the time, early 16th century, and the aristocratic houses of Scotland and the crowned heads of Europe.
Wow.
But it's worth having a look at. It's,
that'd be great.
That gives you an idea. So, yes. Well, thank you.
Thank you for talking to us. It's really wonderful. And I can't really find that many
No.
anymore.
And
there's anything in particular that you think is Catholic homes of Scotland?
Yes. Well, it's borrowed.